Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to continue our conversation about complex numbers. This time, we are going to focus on how to perform operations of complex numbers. The major operations we're going to work on is adding, subtraction, and multiplication. Let's see the first examples. In this example, we are going to add and subtract two complex numbers. Let's see how do we do this. So as you remember, complex number is composed two parts, real number part and the imaginary number part. So what do we do when we add or subtract? Actually very simple. The major skill we're going to use is combining like terms. So what we are going to do is we just focus on what are the like terms we have and then we are going to combine them. So how do we do this? Let's see this one. So as you can see, the real number part, which is 8 and 12. So we are going to combine these two. And for the imaginary part, we are going to combine 4i and negative I. So the final answer will be 8 plus 12 is 20. 4i minus I is going to be 3i. And that's it. That's our answer. Next, we are going to work on this one, but as you can see, instead of adding, this is subtraction, so we need to be careful the sign we are working on. So first, I'm going to take off the parentheses because that way I know exactly what's going on with negative sign, and we know in this way is actually invisible -1 for both ones, so I just distribute this -1 to both terms. That way I know the sign is changing. As you can see, positive 2 becomes negative, negative 7i becomes positive, then I'm going to work on like terms, which is 3 and negative 2 and 4i and 7i. So after combine like terms, I will have 3 minus 2 is 1, 4i plus 7i is 11i. And also just let you know, we prefer to keep our final answer as a plus bi format, which is real part and imaginary part. This is how we express the answer. Okay, so that's adding and subtracting. As you can see, the only skills we apply here is combining like terms. So next, we are going to work on the different example for the multiplication. But before that, let's get some preparation regarding how do we simplify those terms. In order to multiply, we need to work on something or review a key skill to help us to multiply, which is distributive property. So when we multiply the terms here, we distribute the term for both terms or whatever we need to multiply. So the keyword here, distributive property. For the first one, as you can see, 2x times x squared is going to be 2x to the third because there is invisible x. When we multiply the exponents, we add them. When we multiply the powers, we add exponent. Just like 1 plus 2 is 3. Next, 2 times 5 is 10, so it's 10x. Another thing is when we multiply with negative sign, do not forget you need to change the sign. And also do not forget when we multiply exponents, we add this exponent. So this is plus. Again, this one becomes positive because we have a negative sign here. This one, some students prefer use distributive property or someone say FOIL. So when we do this, we distribute x to the two terms, we do the same thing for the one. So let's follow. X times x, x squared, x times negative 3, minus 3x, 1 times x, plus 1x, 1 times negative 3, negative 3. And then we just combine like terms, which is negative 3x plus 1x, which is x squared, minus 2x, minus 3. And that's it. That's called distributive property. Some students probably know the method is called box method. I'm going to show here. You can choose whatever the way you liked it. So as you can see, we have 2 terms times 2 terms. So I'm going to set a box with 4 grades here. Because it's 2, 2, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? And then how do I set it up? The first 2 terms I'm put on the side. The next 2 terms I'm put on this side, on the top side, on the left side. And then when I multiply, I just focus on what are the 2 terms connect. As you see, the first one is connecting x and x, so which we have x squared. And for this one, it's connecting positive 1 and x, so you multiply them, you get 1x. And when you multiply these two, as you can see, it's negative 3 and x, so it's negative 3x. And negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. As you can see, we just connect them and multiply. Do not forget you multiply them. You get this. And next, I check, do I have like terms? Yes, I do. The like term is negative 3x plus 1x. And then when I write down the final answer, I'm going to follow first x squared. Then I combine like terms, minus 2x. Then the final term is minus 3. So this is my final answer. As you can see, same as distributive property. So it really doesn't matter which way you like. You can choose a way works for you. Next, we are going to answer one question. What is I squared? You can definitely pause here to see what answer you have for these three answers. And then check, do you notice any pattern? So I'm going to go a little bit quickly here because we all know the answer. This one is 4, this one is 9, this one is 100. And after that, you probably notice the final answer actually go back to the radicand. This is actually the property of square root. When we square a square root, we go back to its radicand, right? So with this power, with this property, we can easily to answer what is I squared. The very first question we know I is square root of negative 1. Then I squared is square root of negative 1 squared, which means according to this property, the square of square root will go back to the radicand. So the I squared is negative 1. Let's write it down. So with all the preparation regarding distributive property, now we know I squared is negative 1. Now we are going to work on how do I multiply these two numbers. Remember, this is different from adding or subtracting. We can just combine like terms. This, we are going to use distributive property. And later we can use box 2. So it will all get the same answer. So in this example, I'm going to demonstrate how do we use distributive property. So as you can see, we have the first number 4, so I'm going to distribute the first two, which is 8, 4 times negative 3i, negative 2i, negative 12i. And then for the I part, we are going to distribute this to twice 2, and we will have plus 2i, I times negative 3i is 3, negative 3i squared. Remember, it's I times I, so it's I squared. Now, let's combine like terms. We know these two are like terms, so it's going to be 8 minus 10i. And next one is minus 3i squared. But do not forget, we just figured out I squared is negative 1. So it's 3 times negative 1. So let's just continue. 8 minus 10i. Negative 3 times negative 1 become positive 3. Now you notice, hey, I have more like terms, so I'm going to combine them. So it's 11 minus 10i. And that's it. That's our final answer. Of course, you can always use box method to set up like this way. And try it on your own. You will definitely have the same answer as we did here, as long as you remember two things. Simplify the I squared as negative 1 and combine like terms as much as you can. And trust me, you'll have the same answer. Okay, that's all I want to share with you about dealing with operation of complex number. I hope this video is helpful. Thank you so much for watching. See you soon, everyone.